Hello and welcome to 3 Modern Challenges Facing District IT Leaders. Today's webinar is sponsored by Linewize and produced by Tech and Learning. My name is Scott Becker and I'm here to take care of some housekeeping details that will help you get the most out of this session. First off, we want this to be an informative event for you, so we encourage any questions in the questions box in your webinar control panel. So not only will we have team members responding to questions during the live event, we'll also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the presentation where we'll discuss in greater detail some of the top questions that you ask. The Q&A panel is also the place to let us know about any technical issues that you might be experiencing. A browser refresh will fix most audio, video, or slide advancement issues. But if that doesn't work, just let us know in the Q&A and we'll provide further technical assistance. Now, second, in the handout section of your webinar control panel, you'll find that we're offering some resources. I'd especially like to call your attention to a PDF of a solution sheet about the content-aware module for Linewize School Manager. So I encourage you to access that resource now, and please share it with your friends and colleagues if they'd be interested in the image blurring capabilities of that module. Now, third, at the end of this webinar event, we'll be awarding a $250 Amazon gift card to one lucky registrant. Of course, you must be in attendance during the live event to qualify for the prize. Official terms and conditions of today's prize drawing can also be found in your handout section. Just scroll to the bottom and you'll find the link with the details there. All right, well, with that, let's get to today's timely discussion. So to do that, I'm excited now to bring on our expert moderator, Christine Weiser, who's Content Director for Tech and Learning. Christine,
hello,
welcome.
Everybody. Thank you, Scott. Thank you so much, and welcome. Welcome to everybody. I am the Content Director for Tech and Learning, and I am thrilled to introduce this discussion on 3 modern challenges facing district IT leaders. We've got 2 amazing experts today who are going to kind of walk through some of those top challenges and share some specific solutions to those challenges. I also want to do a special thanks to our sponsor, Linewize, for making this webinar possible. And just a reminder, as Scott said, we really want this to be interactive. We would love to hear your questions. We're going to do our best to address them at the end of the conversation. So just keep them coming and we'll get to those at the end, as many as we can. And joining us today, I'm excited to welcome Logan Joyner, who's a network analyst at Richland School District. Welcome, Logan. And Teresa Reeves, who's the territory director for Linewize. So they're going to walk us through 3 of these challenges and offer some really great tactical solutions to help address some of these challenges. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Teresa, who's going to get us started.
Thank you, Christine, and thank you to Tech and Learning for having us this morning and afternoon, depending on where you're joining us today. So to quickly just kind of run through the agenda, really around housekeeping, just like Christine Scott shared earlier, is we will be doing a series of polls throughout this session, and we encourage you all to participate in those polls. That's going to help us work together to make this webinar a great success. So the first thing we're going to talk first is around pressure on our K-12 IT departments, and then address the challenges, 3 specifically today, with my partner, Logan at Richland School District, around granularity and filtering, parenting engagement, generative AI. And then with those, we're going to, after a collaborative conversation, show you guys how Linewize is addressing those 3 solutions specifically within our digital student safety wellbeing framework. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started. And I'd like to introduce you first to Linewize. Quick intro of who we are is we are a provider of hybrid filtering, classroom management, and student safety, including parent engagement tools, and we're truly global. We protect and empower students around the world. We're also growing extremely rapidly across the globe, supporting over 27,000 school districts, 15 million students, and our global team is phenomenal across cybersecurity, wellness, and clinical psychology. We understand that you as IT educators have a lot of pressure within your departments today, and those that continue to grow. Managing things like compliance, increased school safety, both digitally and physically, student data privacy, all those modern instructional tools, they're growing and scaling as we increase our digital presence in the curriculum world. Parent engagement's becoming increasing need. That list goes on. But what is a continued challenge is the capacity of our technology teams to address these growing needs. Your team is being faced to address some specific challenges, and we're going to focus on 3 of those today. These are more than just implementing a basic network infrastructure. Your team is being asked to expand into developing and implementing those strategies, all those procedures, and the technology to address that challenges like granularity and flexibility in your filtering. How to engage parents in your communities. What does that partnership look like? And obviously address striking a balance with the rise of generative AI. So let's go to challenge 1. Granularity and flexibility in your filter. We know this. New sites are popping up every day. It's happening faster than we can manage or even block or allow them. This includes all those subdomains, all those sites that your district may actually be utilizing today that may contain potential distractors for your students and staff, or even contain inappropriate content. Then we're talking about the big one, VPNs and proxies. So as the internet becomes more advanced, our kiddos not only understand what VPNs and proxies can accomplish, but gosh, most of them can create their own pretty quick. So they can circumvent those sites to get access to the tools they need that are typically blocked. It's that old saying of that whack-a-mole. And that's where IT is trying to manage that today. So putting you in that position, legacy URL filtering just isn't going to cut it anymore. You, our IT leadership, our teachers, you need more from your filtering partner so you can focus on the things that are important in your constant and expanding roles. And all these components are just the start. You're faced with additional distractors within your filter. Teachers are requesting access to sites for their class curriculum. Your administrators, principals, counselors need access to student activity for disciplinary action or support reasons. Those distractors are going to only grow over time in this digital space. And what is the goal? How to keep IT out of the filter and focus on the things that are most important. The day of legacy URL filtering has shifted. And today, many variations of filterings are available. So when we talk about the need for a content-aware filter, you may have heard that comment come up quite a bit. It's just expanding beyond just the domain level, or giving more than just the limitation to block all or none. In a content-aware model, real-time filtering enables IT to not only stay out of the filter, but also empower those teachers to mitigate those distractions in the classroom, enable administrators and other leadership to be involved in their students' digital worlds, identify risks quickly, and also enable that parent engagement. Let's shift the focus from what used to be a day-to-day filter management from a DNS, no filter, or URL basic filter, and focused into the bigger strategy, big picture areas of all of those important roles. Speaking of important roles, I'm excited to join me with Logan with Richland School District, where he's going to share his journey around leveraging Linewize in this content filter aware space. Logan?
Absolutely. So we have our first poll up first. If everybody wants to take the time here to fill out our poll for our first question.
Thank you, Logan. It looks like I skipped ahead there. So yes. So what is the biggest filter challenge for everyone today? Maybe reporting isn't granular enough. I get too many requests from teachers and staff to unblock sites today. Is it role hierarchy? It's just too complicated to manage? Is it the whack-a-mole? Are students using those VPNs and proxies to get around the filter today? And is it difficult to manage complex sites and all those dependencies underneath? We'll let this poll go for about a minute to allow everyone to review those statements and pick which one is the biggest filter challenge to them today. And we'll give it another 30 seconds or so. Getting some really great responses. Thank you for your participation. Okay, about 10 more seconds. Get those final responses in. Now, these are tough questions to address. It's hard to pick which one's the highest priority or challenge in today's world. Awesome. I think we've got the polls in. So let's take a look in terms of challenges. So it looks like a high percentage is VPNs and proxies, that whack-a-mole. We hear that very well, and we're excited to tell you more about how Logan and his district are attacking that, leveraging Linewize, and then later in this webinar, really talk into more detail of how we're doing that here with School Manager. Looks like also complex sites are also a big concern with our districts today. So thank you for your participation. Would like to take this next one to shared Logan's journey, specifically with regard to granular filtering and challenges in there.
Absolutely, thank you. So just a little intro about myself. Good morning, everyone. My name is Logan Joyner. I'm a network analyst with the Richland School District in Richland, Washington. My typical day-to-day duties are that of your typical network admin. I would say 70% of my duties, include managing the web filter. The Richland School District has been a Linewize customer since 2021. We leverage their entire suite of products, and I'm excited to share with you our experience today. When it comes to filtering, in Richland, we use Linewize School Manager. We build all of our filtering policies in School Manager using School Manager's pre-built signatures, keyword search term blocks, and their robust categories. We've been able to keep our filter really flexible by putting some control into the teacher's hands, utilizing the hierarchy of unlocked rules versus locked rules for our filtering. It's your typical top-down filter. As Teresa has mentioned, as you guys are all aware, we do spend a lot of time in the web filter playing whack-a-mole. But by utilizing all of these tools that Linewize has given us in School Manager, like these categories and these signatures, we are able to step away and shift focus when needed. We in Richland have set up School Manager to where all school administrators have pastoral care access into School Manager and are able to see insight into what students in their buildings are doing on a daily basis. They can get a brief summary of the reporting from a quick and easy to read dashboard, and they're also really able to focus on the concerning searches or events that are coming up by utilizing School Manager's red flag alerts. I'm there to support administrators when needed. If more detailed reporting is needed, I'm able to pull more detailed reporting out of School Manager. If administrators have questions or if there's any need for what I like to call report translation, I am available as needed with that. Usually they contact me directly. I'm the one mostly involved in this. I hope that clears that up.
Thanks, Logan. I wondered if you could quickly share a little bit about your experience. We talk a lot about, and one of the challenges that came up as high priority in the poll around those complex sites. So those sites with what we call dependencies. For those on the call, they mean, I'm assuming they're knowing what I'm talking about, but shame on me. I'm hoping you can help educate what we're talking about, specifically me, when it comes to handling more complex sites.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we run into issues like that every day where, as you mentioned, your typical DNS legacy URL filtering isn't cutting it, right? You can allow those top level domains and 75% of the content may work and may be accessible, but that's where utilizing those signatures in School Manager that Linewize has created has really changed the game in that aspect, because all of those pre-built signatures and categories, they contain all of those backend domains and really allow the websites to function, and allows me to not have to dig into developer tools every day and try to figure out what websites are there and so on and so forth.
Love that. Thank you for sharing. All right. With that, we're going to move on to our second challenge. And that challenge is something that is interesting and becoming extremely evolving in our districts is how are we engaging and communicating with our parents? So we know that our students' everyday lives and the way they learn continue to build in a digital world where the parents, us, haven't really grown up in that world, but that's where our children are today. And our students are seeking to ways, to connect, but thus creating an environment where now our parents are seeking to become more active and not only that, have more visibility into what their kids are doing online. But the question comes up is parents are asking a lot of those same questions that we are solving at the district level. How do I keep my kid safe online? I have a device coming home that I don't own, and I feel out of the loop, or I'm all of a sudden not in control of that online behavior of that school-owned device. They're asking about these every single day. When we think about applications like parents are asking, what is ChatGPT? Why is Discord potentially problematic and good? How can I put safeguards in place at home too, including those personal devices I give my kiddo? You've given your kiddo an iPad, an iPhone, maybe an Android device. These devices are running throughout the household, and in most cases, most of these kiddos have more than one of those devices at home. So what are our parents asking our districts is they're actively seeking support from their districts today. And in turn, our districts are looking for ways to better communicate and engage with their parents in their communities. And by bringing these groups together is a phenomenal way to accomplish big goals in a very strong digital world we all live in today. So with that, I'd like to start another poll. I told you guys this would be engaging. And we'd like to open the floor. This is an interesting new topic to a lot of our districts. What parent questions or concerns does your IT or even administrative team hear most often? So is it parents are struggling to oversee screen time when devices are sent home? Maybe those kiddos are on a school-owned device, past 10 p.m. at night. Are parents worried the school isn't monitoring student activity on school devices? Are parents discussing or communicating that they're worried that the school is over-monitoring student activity on those devices? Interesting one. Are parents expressing concerns around student data privacy? And are parents asking you guys, gosh, I want to know how much time my kids are spending online at school? And we'll keep this poll open for about a minute. And I recognize a lot of our districts are getting a smaller percentage of parents, but our noisy parents, right? We've got our percentage of really vocal parents that are really, really looking at this as a critical need as they start seeing these devices come home and managing the student safety aspect at home as well as being educated on these sites and resources that our kids are leveraging. We'll give it about 30 more seconds. About 5 more seconds and close this poll up. We're getting some wonderful responses. We're still getting some lingering response. I'll give it 5 more seconds. We still have responders coming in. Awesome. All right, we're going to go ahead and close this poll. Let's take a look at what we have. Gosh, we have a good mix, guys. I think there's super, super awesome response. And I do recognize that in some instances, some of these questions don't identify or connect with what your parents are asking your district. So as part of the Q&A, if I might encourage our attendees, if there are some additional things that your parents are asking about, put them in the Q&A. We want to hear about it and we want to address it as well. But with regard to this poll, I want to take a look at, we've got a good blend between concerns around student data privacy to, gosh, not monitoring student activity after school hours on school-owned devices. And then really parents asking to be a part of the journey, which includes overseeing screen time when devices are sent home. This is phenomenal. I appreciate that response. So let's go and jump in. Logan, bringing you back in on this with these poll responses. kind of want to ask you the question, what are you surprised by any of these responses as you kind of dig in to start your story?
I'm not. We've heard a lot of it here, and these are a lot of the same questions that we had when we kind of stepped into the whole parent app role. And so, as you mentioned, right, it's really as simple as parents want to know. School districts are sending devices home with their parents. They have no visibility into what the students are doing on the school devices at home unless they're being monitored. And we have parents in the district that, like you said, we have those vocal parents, vocal minority right now. But I know numbers are growing. But we have parents who want to know. So in Richland, we knew we needed to get a parent app in the hands of the parents as soon as possible. And that's where the custodial parent app from Linewize really stepped in for us. It's met all the needs of our community currently. Working with the team at Linewize, they have an amazing team that has built out these great communication plan. They have flyers, social media posts, everything you could think of that you would need to get the ball rolling to communicating with parents. Here in Richland, we have an entire team dedicated to, parent communication. IT doesn't really do that directly, so we work through them to make sure that the communication comes across clearly and so on and so forth. And so working with Linewize, we were able to really build a great communication plan and send all of that information over to our communications coordinators here in the district and develop a rollout process that's worked really well for us. Where the challenge comes in once you have the app in the hands of the parents, right, is how can we support the families that need assistance with the app or have questions about the app, need questions, maybe ask for needing training. We're lucky that the Custodio Parent app is super easy to use, and most parents have picked up on the app really quickly. For those parents that have needed a little bit more support, we have used lots of the training materials already available by Linewize to send to parents via flyers and everything like that. My favorite thing about the Custodio Parent app and the best feedback that I'm getting from families is the fact that the app is customized to have the Linewize safety hub built right into the app. So that hub being available has been able to answer 90% of questions for families, right? Because lots of the confusion comes from, my child is on Reddit at night and I don't know what Reddit is. Well, in the Custodio Parent app, parents are able to literally click on Reddit, go to the safety hub, and get a risk grade. They're able to get expert advice on, if Reddit is a safe platform, how it can be used safely, and all of the above. So the parent app built with the safety hub has really kind of made supporting parents in our district pretty seamless.
Thank you for sharing, Logan. And we're going to dive into the parent app and community safety hub that Logan just addressed here in a little bit and give you guys a bigger, deeper tour on what that is. All right. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the next challenge around a big topic. And it's an interesting statement of managing. How about addressing the rise of generative AI? It's such a hot topic today, and all of our districts across the country, regardless of size, are taking different stances on how they are enabling or not generative AI in terms of their district readiness. This could be from staffing, this could be to just the functional tools and awareness and capabilities, but there's also an area of risk, and we're going to talk about that. So that's where we talk about striking a balance. So as Logan mentioned a little bit earlier, Richland has their own approach, and leveraging AI within a technology platform like Linewize doesn't mean we are owning or creating an AI strategy for our district. What this means is we're leveraging AI to support Logan and his team's roles within the filtering student safety mechanisms so that then Logan can make the decisions on enabling AI as part of their district's strategy. So we know one thing, AI is here to stay, and we know it's going to change the way people work in the future. And part of that is in preparedness. So as we talked about with the IT challenges, your roles are expanding. Teachers' roles are expanding, and those responsibilities continue to increase. Now they're being asked to add another thing on the plate, which is striking a balance with these generative AI tools that are coming out within not only your district strategy, but your stance, your policies to enhance education. In one hand, AI tools can enable creativity, giving our students opportunities to build on ideas, create amazing outcomes across all areas of study like digital art, design, math, science, etc. But we all know all AI tools are not the same. And as a district partner, Linewize enables IT and teams like Logan's to, whether it be enable, disable, limit, identify AI tools as they come out to align with the strategy that you're building. But all in all, really focused around the centered part of the student and keeping them safe in that journey when they do leverage those tools. So when we talk about the good part of AI, I'm what I call Johnny Poo Poo Pants on a national call. When I say there comes risks regarding generative AI, and those have to be aware. And I know most on this call are aware of these, but let's talk through them a little bit. This is where striking a balance of generative AI is so critical. Leveraging AI also brings about things like cyberbullying, which is becoming more advanced, especially with things like deepfake technology. Additionally, online predators are leveraging AI to more readily target young people, to going to online scams where, again, young people are a key target with a focus on things like sextortion through social engineering. Amongst others is that in misinformation, where it's becoming more widespread across multiple platforms, using AI to create and spread that false information and unverified information, it's dangerous, right? Things like miracle cures in the medical side, fake news, creating false information that may actually already harm potentially already at-risk people. So I'd like to start with a poll and really talk about what about generative AI keeps you up at night? Is it the impact of AI as a tool in classrooms? Risk versus reward and impact. Is it student data privacy? The increase around the things we just talked about around cyberbullying, misinformation, student well-being incidents. Is it about striking a healthy balance between curriculum and digital safety? Is it a mix or some or all of the above? Or gosh, I have no concerns and I sleep great at night. I'm going to keep this one open a little over a minute, depending on how fast quickly people are replying. Some of these concerns may be, yep, hot topic, or give a chance for you guys to think on just a little bit. And while this poll is going, I would like to thank everybody who's engaging in the Q&A session actively. I love the comments and the questions coming in, and we're so excited to address those at the end of the call. So keep those questions coming, you guys, and comments. I want to hear them all. Thank you. Give about 10 more seconds here. Looks like we're winding down on the poll. All right, we're going to go ahead and close this poll out. We got some really good response here. I wasn't quite expecting the heavy hitter of all of the above, but thank you all for sharing. I am absolutely elated to hear that there are no concerns and there's some people sleeping really well at night. And would love to hear your journey sometime about, how this develops and how you guys are leveraging and building on your strategy. So this is wonderful. The other area C is a focus more on student data privacy and cybersecurity risks. 100% absolutely. It's a well-known risk and a challenge that I'm glad that it's being brought up for awareness. But looks like all of the above is really the heavy hitter response here. So thank you very much for your response. So Logan, what I'd like to do is step it over to you. As we're talking generative AI around not just the risks that we just talked about keeping us up at night, I'd love to hear about some of the things that, kept you up at night and how you're leveraging generative AI in your district and how Linewize is supporting you in those strategies and goals.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you are 100% right. AI is the hot topic right now, right? The facts are it scares some people. There's a burden, what's safe, what's not safe. It can be abused, but it can also be used as a tool. So in the Richland School District, just speaking from our current policy, is we basically allow AI tools for high school students. We don't allow AI tools for elementary or middle school students yet. We're trying to find a really great platform to start introducing AI tools to those students of those age levels. But currently, our policy is AI tools are only allowed for high school and above. The reason why we decided to go that route is because we know, right, and probably everybody on this call knows that by the time students are in high school, they're going to use the tools regardless of if they're blocked at school or not, right? These students have personal devices. These students have personal devices at home. They have cell phones at school. They're going to utilize the tools. We wanted to at least make it to where we can monitor them while they utilize them. So let's not block them on school district devices so that we can actually get some insight to what they're doing on these tools. Linewize has done a great job in School Manager. From an admin dashboard point of view, I can log into School Manager and see trending AI tools and pull reporting specifically for AI tools to see what tools students are using on a daily basis. Lots of times I go through that list and review some of these tools and make my own best judgment as like this tool seems pretty nonsensical. It might be like an AI chat bot where you're chatting with a fake friend, and we see that a lot. And so using School Manager, we've been able to make AI tools accessible, but we're also able to block specific AI tools using those, getting really granular and using those custom object pools in School Manager. We have also decided as a district that we are going to enable our teachers to choose the level of AI that they're comfortable with, right? We have a wide range here. There are teachers that are terrified of it, and there are teachers that think that it's the new, latest and greatest thing. We're talking our tech teachers, CT teachers, stuff like that. And they really want to utilize those tools in their classrooms. So the easiest way for us to be hands-off was basically allow AI tools for high school students. And if teachers specifically want to block AI tools, they can use the Classwize classroom management tool that ties right into School Manager and allow or block those resources in real time for their class periods. Those block rules will end at the end of their class period. They go into the next class period. The next teacher can do the same or opposite. And so I'm also going to bring in Linewize Monitor here. So Linewize Monitor is a student safety wellbeing platform that Linewize offers. And we see generative AI use in Linewize Monitor every day. I am using those risk ranks in Monitor. I'm able to see those in real time with Monitor and block those websites, those really risky websites. When you see students maybe trying to utilize cyberbullying or generating adult content in an AI platform, all that stuff gets caught in real time by Linewize Monitor, and I'm able to go in and review those alerts and block those when needed in School Manager. So really, with AI in the Richland School District, like I said, we're utilizing all the tools at hand to try to give the students the best experience. Our goal as a district and strategy as a district with AI is we're really trying to build good digital citizenship with students and teach them how to use the tools the right way.
Thank you, Logan. So with those three challenges, what I think will be good, and I think amongst some of the questions we're seeing come in, my hope is that this next area, diving into Linewize's solve for these challenges, my hope that can address some of these questions. Again, please note we will be addressing questions at the end directly of this webinar, but I do hope in some of this content for this next area that we're able to address some of them as part of this webinar. So what I'd like to talk through next is, thank you, Logan, seriously, for sharing your journey and how you're leveraging Linewize. I think that's a great start to help support districts who are thinking about their current strategies and the current challenges they're having within their district, and really hearing it directly from a school district on how you're solving those challenges. So thank you for that. So what I'd like to go into next is really talking about how we're bringing these tools and challenges into the tools and the platform. And that's through Linewize's well-being framework, which consists of 3 pillars, if you take a look at this, that revolves around our students. These 3 filters focus on 3 areas: prevention and enablement, early detection and prevention, and education and engagement. And surprisingly enough, we kind of hit on all 3 of these metrics and these pillars within our framework. We talked a little bit about the filter within our prevention and enablement. And I love that Logan mentioned a little bit of how they're doing in the classroom management, where we talk about unlocking potential for your teachers and IT and administrators, but then bringing in the student safety and early detection and intervention, and bringing those together with tools like Monitor, and then bringing that all together to better our parent communities with education and engagement tools that we make available free to our district partners, like our Parent Act Custodio and our online safety hub, which I'll dive into here. So in our prevention and enablement pillar that we just talked about is School Manager, which is the only true content-aware filtering it for education. And we talked about that a little bit at the beginning of our conversation regarding taking a traditional URL filter and bringing it into a capacity of providing a fully content-aware filtering solution. By offering a true hybrid model, we're enabling our districts to make the choice on the right solution for them. This is not a one-size-fits-all model. Your district needs the ability to grow without bottlenecks, integrate and like multiple authentication sources, leverage your student information system of choice, and then in addition, have the visibility to get as granular as you need to protect your students online, or even identify challenges with the ability to see that visibility within SSL and packet levels. All people have a mobile device that are Wi-Fi enabled. So don't manage that separately with the firewall. And again, additionally add burden to your already packed day. Our AI can better manage that whack-a-mole we stated earlier, right? That Logan had mentioned, to identify and block all that harmful or maybe distracting VPNs, proxies, etc. Logan mentioned earlier a little bit about Linewize's class-wise classroom management. This, with School Manager, enables your teachers to stop those help tickets, chats, emails to your team, to give them autonomy to access those sites and resources they need. That includes specific YouTube videos, for instance, or even more granular access to resources like iReady, with all those additional dependencies within it, without opening additional tickets or being concerned with additional overblocking of specific resources built into those tools. And that's just a quick reminder of the pyramid. We have gone from a URL and DNS filter to really moving into a true content-aware, real-time filtering model. This really takes that burden off IT and creates a better environment for learning, student safety and engagement and empowerment within your teachers, your administrative staff, and your IT teams. In addition, now we're bringing things like content aware, which brings an additional level of granularity to our core filter to support better learning experience. Rather than just filtering out a URL based on a single harmful element, we're actually assessing that imagery. And later this fall, we're going to be joined by text and video on every individual page, allowing some pages while blocking others. This gives your students access to a greater volume of safer content for a better learning experience. And in addition, it's across any type of site or browser. Next, we talk about Custodio. And Logan, thank you for sharing your journey. I think what's important to understand is not only how we're engaging and enabling our parents to be more involved, but we're also allowing our districts to choose that journey. And Logan, you have a really great journey here in that you've enabled your district to have choice and an opt-in for those very vocal parents who want to be involved versus those that don't really have that need or desire to have that visibility into those school issue devices, or even have a parent app at home for their kiddos that may not have even a personal device yet. I currently have my youngest kiddo who does not have a device that actually can get on the internet yet, but those days are coming. But with Custodio, we're providing those parents that tool to not only have visibility at the choice of the district of those school issue devices, but also having the ability to do some things in autonomy at home after school hours, such as maybe turning the internet off of that device after a certain time frame in the evening, focus time. On those personal devices, getting that access to insights like where their kids are going online at school and home. And not only that, in our extended parent app, giving some additional security coverage. Know where they're at. Give them peace of mind of that kid's device on their own devices, but also give the historical tracking of where that student has been in that journey, regardless of that device, whether it be school or their personal. We also provide access to guidance, tools, and resources to our parents. So leverage the Linewize team to the online safety hub that, gosh, is packed full of all of these resources curated for every single one of our school districts. So a lot of our school districts have questions. Gosh, when I enable our parents, I'm enabling and opening the door to questions they have around the technology use in my children's hands. Linewize makes that simple in our online safety hub. This is, again, a free tool that we provide, leveraging our clinical experts. We provide blogs, resources, app and game reviews across over 300 apps and growing, giving advice and resources to deal with specific issues around digital safety and learning. Step-by-step instructions on how to improve online safety within your home, the steps you can take as a parent. And then for staff, we provide your district with templates and graphics to help enable and explore and bring out message out to your communities, providing you social posts and updates around the topics that we're planning on curating and implementing within your online hub. And discover advice and resources available to your staff to support this journey. Next, I want to talk and dive into Monitor. So thank you, Logan, for telling your journey. And I know while this wasn't a core topic on a challenge, when we talk about the access to data, generative AI tools, and granular filtering, the need revolving around our student and student safety is a core focus. And Monitor truly builds that together, as we are the most advanced monitoring solution in K-12. We leverage AI, natural language processing, and 24/7 human moderation, where we are helping our districts identify online risks before they become real-life incidents. Our kiddos live in a digital world where the risks that we can see physically and hear are not as loud as those risks underneath the surface in their digital world where they live. They have a place in the digital world where they feel more safe to be more openly and attempt to connect and their voices and be heard and their feelings be stated. And monitor is real time. We're capturing user activity, whether it be a website chat, conversation GPT, chat GPT or Discord. Maybe they're writing an email. Perhaps they're even using district approved resources. Whether that activity is offline or online, a Word doc, notepad, messaging app. We're taking that data and we're starting there by mitigating false positives. By leveraging that experienced team of 24/7 moderators, we're reviewing all those captures for our districts. Again, taking the burden off the time to allow you to address those risks and have context behind why, to get that phone call if it is indeed urgent. You shouldn't have to be concerned that an actual risk is hidden amongst a long list of non-risk events. By enabling our IT to have access as well as their administrators, maybe there is a school resource counselor, principal that has access to their own dashboard, you're able to now click into those alerts and capture detail. Message with the human moderators back and forth on that risk to identify and describe the alert profile or document in case of the risk. And also have that date and time stamp and the ability to click in and view more on screen captures as well of those at-risk events to better capture and understand that risk. And with Linewize, we've heard our districts speak. And one of the areas that we're really excited to bring into our monitor student safety is our clown scan module. And this will be a part of Monitor bringing in as an ability for you guys to detect harmful images within your cloud storage environment. So whether that be Microsoft OneDrive, maybe Google Drive, we will do a daily scan of either or both of those drives, depending on your district environment, to identify and isolate any imagery that could be harmful, illegal, pose a substantial risk, and allow your IT to take action on those, from deleting to releasing and reviewing. With that, we're bringing this all together. And as a summary, the Linewize ecosystem is truly bringing everyone together around prevention and enablement, early detection, and education and engagement. I'd like to thank you for enabling me to talk about a little bit more about the Linewize ecosystem and open it up to our final poll before opening the door to questions with our remaining 12 minutes of time together. So the final poll before I hand it over to the wonderful Christine is of interest in a free demo or even conversation of Linewize. There were some questions that came in through the poll and through the Q&A session. And if that is of interest to expand that conversation, we'd love to talk to you guys. So we'll start with the poll and give the team some time. We'll give it about a minute, and then we'll open the door to the Q&A session.
A lot of good ones in here.
We'll give it about 10 more seconds, and then we're going to dive into the Q&A. We'll let you lead that one, Christine.
Yes, worth it.
Client is communicating to me, and I'm just trying to verify that the search they're presenting me is valid. And it's just saying, like, okay, that's the client. Okay. So, I think we should. What I heard is that I don't want to have is, I think that your career.
All right, Christine.
Ready? All right. You know, kudos for giving this time for thoughtfulness and replying to the polls, because I know sometimes people are always anxious to just get right through them. So kudos to you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to Logan and to Teresa for walking us through. A lot to think about. We've got some amazing questions, and we're going to get through as many as possible, and we will have access to these questions afterwards, so our friends at Linewize can address anything that maybe we didn't have time to get to today. So I'll start with one, and this is probably for Logan. So can you talk a little bit about how much time you devote to the maintenance of the Linewize system, say average per month?
Yeah, so this is a great question. I'll go off of the last 2 months. Hours per month, I would say I'll say 2 to 3 hours a day is where I live in Linewize. I would like to talk about, the first year of implementation with Linewize. Those were, lots of hours in the platform, building it out. Here in the Richland School District, I took a lot of time to build a communication with administrators, trying to get them involved in School Manager and get them access to School Manager. We tried to build, communication teams within the buildings. All of that took time in the initial integration, and that was just Richland School District time developing a team to really handle those things. It was, before I came into this role, it was the duty of the IT department, right, to kind of manage, dealing with the students and working with administrators on one-off situations directly. So building out those roles that took time, it was all worth it, right? I think of these platforms as an investment. The first month, investing all of that time really allowed me now, being into the program or using it for 3 years to really kind of be, in the platform. I would say 2 to 3 hours a day and kind of be hands off. Administrators in the building now kind of handle the day-to-day discipline and stuff that goes along with the web filtering platform.
Great. Thank you, Logan. Teresa, I don't know if you add anything or want to jump to another question because I want to make sure we get time.
Yeah, let's keep the question. I think that was great. Thank you, Logan.
Yeah, this one I find really interesting because we're hearing this a bit, and maybe Teresa, this is for you. So how are you blocking AI tools that are being integrated into existing tools? So we've got Google's Gemini, we have some Adobe, some Padlet things. I think that would be really helpful to hear a little bit more about. And Teresa, I don't know if you want to take that one.
I will definitely start with that. So we recognize there's an increase, right? And a lot of the AI generated content on the internet. And you've heard Logan's journey. You've heard how Linewize is reviewing and assessing this and how we're applying that and bringing that in, not only leveraging ourselves internally within our filter and our student safety, but how we're enabling our school districts to make the decisions and informed choices they need that best suits their needs. And that really comes around what we developed within our policies of the filter side to start. There's a lot of chat programs, tools, generative artwork, right? All these things. And so what we've done in Linewize is we've actually created an AI tools subcategory signature. And what that means to our districts on the call for our technology teams is that we're relying on not only just saying block all AI tools, we're actually taking a hard look as those are coming up, kind of like with the proxies and VPNs, but the same thing with AI, to identify and correctly categorize and put these in a resource where districts can now make the decision as, you know what, I saw that there were some AI tools in the chat, in the Q&A, open and allow. However, I don't want this specific AI tool enabled. And we've enabled that currently in our policy. And for whoever, asked that question, we'd love to follow up. And I will share any resource. We have a beautiful resource guide that shows you exactly how we do that when it comes to enabling and blocking AI tools. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, it does.
And
Thank
can
you.
I actually add a little bit more? Sorry.
Please.
So about the specific apps like Google, and then you have the new Bing AI. So in the district here, we often utilize our like Google Workspace for Education platform on our Google Admin console to really kind of narrow down access to those tools for students, high school students, middle school students, however it may be. Here we allow high school students to use those tools. And then like as far as like with Bing and Microsoft Edge and all of that being integrated right into Windows, we actually manage a lot of that through group policy. So lots of different platforms to kind of integrate, School Manager, yes, utilizing those signatures and being able to manage your AI tools that way, but then also using your tools within your, Google Admin Console and your, group policies, kind of make it all blend together and just utilize everything at your disposal.
Super, super helpful. Thank you for that. One question from Julie was saying she gets a lot of questions from her parents about monitoring personal devices for students. So I don't know, Logan, if you have any words of wisdom to help out there, or if you've addressed this, I'm sure you have.
Absolutely, yes. And this is something that I forgot to mention when we were talking about Custodio that I really wanted to talk about is Linewize has this amazing Custodio program for parents, right? So school district devices are included in Custodio, but along with that, each parent has the opportunity to enroll up to 2 personal devices per kid, Teresa? Correct?
That's right. Nicely done.
And they can monitor activity just like they would on a school district device for those personal devices at home.
Okay. Oh, great. Thank you for that. That is helpful. And one thing, because we talked about this earlier, is how do you stay on top of VPNs without feeling like you are playing that? So we talked about that game of whack-a-mole. I don't know if you could go into a little bit, maybe Logan, if you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is actually something that we've just recently implemented here, and it's helped a ton, right? So we use the VPN and proxies signature that Linewize already has made, and that covers, 95% of the tools out there. Where sometimes those, day 0 vulnerabilities pop up is where we struggle to try to capture those, right, and block those. So in School Manager, we have a catch-all policy where we have added uncategorized websites. So those day 0 tools like proxies and VPNs, or even adult content may it be, they get caught by that final catch-all rule because the tool isn't categorized properly yet. And that comes with its challenges as well, but working with Linewize support and the support chat, we're able to work through those almost seamlessly. So,
perfect. Tris, anything to add to that?
Nailed it.
Of course.
Mic drop. Yep.
All right. All right. We've got a lot of stuff here. Let me just scan through here of something a little different. So we have a question from Ryan. So what is best practice to tighten up access to sensitive data of students, faculty, and administration? So maybe I'll hand that one to you, Logan, if that's okay.
I don't know, Teresa. So I'm not.
I am not
an expert in this.
Teresa, you want to run with that?
I'll start with it. So while we at Linewize, we are the student safety filtering solution. The tools we enable allow a Logan, and the question that came in, to further expand on the strategy that they're involving in terms of policies around what they're blocking, what they're enabling, because there's going to be areas around the ethics and the curriculum access, as well as student safety and data concerns and privacy concerns. We're not the ones to create the policy, but we are part of the enablement to support the policy and strategy. So that said, Logan, as the network guy over at Richland, this is a really good question for you.
Yeah, so I'll start it with we do our best, right? So we have requests for tons and tons and tons of tools every day, tons of websites. We, generally speaking, our process here is if a staff member wants to implement some sort of tool, IT has to review those, terms of service, privacy policies, make sure that they comply with COPA and FERPA, and we try to do that here, and then work with our teaching and learning department to get the teachers the correct access that they need to those tools. So I guess it's, for us here at Richland School District, it's a really best effort. There are lots of teachers, and it's a challenge in IT in general. Lots of staff want to go out and try these different tools, and sometimes those aren't even picked up on us until months and months later down the road. So.
Well, thank you. How did an hour go by so quickly? Oh my goodness. So we are out of time. Thank you so much to Trissa, to Logan, to our audience for the terrific questions. And as I said, we didn't get to all of them. I apologize, but we will have access to those later so we can address those after the event. Also, keep an eye on your email. This recording will be available to you after the event, so you can revisit it. You can share it with your colleagues. And thank you so much again to Linewize for making this conversation possible. I learned a lot, and I'm sure our audience has as well. And with that, I want to pass this back to Scott to reveal our winner of the $250 Amazon card.
All right. Yeah. And before we wrap up, we do have that Amazon card. So the winner is Lorraine Schmertzing from Georgia. So congratulations to Lorraine Schmertzing. We'll be in touch to get you your card. And with that, on behalf of the Tech and Learning team, I want to thank Linewize for making this event possible. And thanks for attending and for all of your great questions and your comments. That's going to conclude today's event. Have a fantastic rest of your day.